Hello everyone. Today I wanted to make a short video on progressive overload because it is extremely important. It's one of the main essential pillars of improving in not just sports or in the gym, but also in other areas. So I wanted to make a short video on it. I'm going to say my backstory. At the beginning, I wasn't using progressive overload in my workout. My workout was based for basketball, and it was a full body workout. And I wasn't actually doing progressive overload, which basically halted my progress because it got to a point where I was almost effortlessly doing the exercises. Obviously not effortlessly, but there was no pressure to improve on my muscle wasn't having to struggle more and more and push harder and harder, because that's what actually makes you improve and helps you do more weight. And it even reaches to the stage where it's much easier to see the progressive overload by increasing the weight than by seeing your progress in terms of physical transformation. So you should always have as goals that progressive overload of weight. Obviously, when it comes to the gym, always keep in mind to have a good form. So never progressively overload when you know you have a bad form. And that is something that's usually called ego lifting, and I wouldn't recommend it. It's just bad because it could lead to injury, and you're not actually doing the weight properly when you could be actually using other muscles than the ones you actually should be targeting. So in the end, it just leads to much less progress. So always keep the form right, and there's many ways to build muscle if that's what your goal. There's many ways to get to that hypertrophy. You could not do as much weight, but do the reps in a certain way. It's not just weight, because at one point it just reaches powerlifting. Now I'm just talking about the gym stuff. Some people even call a good thing you could implement is power building, which is basically reaching that high weight to build muscle, but just don't really overdo it if you're starting to feel pain and like in certain joints and stuff. Just make sure that you implement progressive overload in one way or another and you'll be fine probably. So I just wanted to talk about that because, as I said at the beginning, I wasn't using this. I wasn't progressively overloading, and I didn't notice much progress. But when you start actually doing progressive overload is when things start to go well. They didn't even mention the definition of progressive overload. For those of you who are confused, it's basically just pushing yourself further every training. It could be by increasing the weight more and more every training. In other areas of life, it could be just it's basically just increase the difficulty. And it says progressive, so you're not just going from 0 to 100, or you're not just maintaining it. It's step by step, so that you can actually build muscle and improve, or in whatever it is, not just gym, as I said. And overload, the word overload is basically loading more. I'm not sure exactly, but that's the basic idea. And I really want to stress that if you're not doing it, it's probably the reason why you're not seeing results. And many people overlook this because they're just so focused on the concept of going to the gym that you don't really research everything that's required. And yeah, progressive overload, to some people it just comes obvious. You need to increase to get better. But some people, only after a lot of time in the gym or in another area of life, they realize the importance of it. So yeah, now I'm just kind of going on a rant on progressive overload, but yeah, just use it, and also assess yourself whether you're actually progressing or if you are reaching kind of a complacency level where you're like, oh, but I don't want to progress. You gotta stay hard and strong always with that caution of obviously not injuring yourself if you're not still doing it with the right form, or if you really can't, obviously don't. But see, that's the fine line where that's kind of where I struggle sometimes, or where I not struggle, but where I have the doubt, the benefit of the doubt usually, is whether I should progressively over, when, let's say, an example, for me for arms, I found that I struggle much more to progressively overload for arms, for the arm exercises I do in terms of weight. So for legs, I'm out here progressively overloading. And then for arms, like, now I'm at a stage where I can't progressively overload every training. Like, I've already had like 2 trainings where I maintain the weight the same. And like, I literally can't. Like, I'm literally there at the barrier. And yeah, because it also depends on the weight you have to work with. Sometimes the jump is bigger. You need to maybe implement other techniques in the case of the gym, like drop sets or assisted repetitions, which I'll explain these 2 quickly. Drop sets, which is to do a certain amount of reps and right after without pausing, lower the weight and continue doing until you can no more. Lower the weight even more if you want. Basically to reach more the failure level of the exercise, and that can be a good in-between point to progressively overload. For example, in bench press, I've had to actually do this. As I said, arms is my weakness here. What I had to do was I had to decrease the I increased the weight, so I progressively overloaded, and then I realized I'm getting stuck like after the 3rd set, stuff like that. And I had to basically do the 3 sets, and then the last set I lower back the weight. That's an example of it, and it took me a while to do the transition to that new weight. So yeah, sometimes you have to take these smaller steps, like the first couple reps, do it at high weight, and as long as you notice that you're progressively overloading, you're not being complacent, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to like do this big jump. So that's where I struggle with a bit, right? Like, I'm not sure if I should progressively overload or whether I should stay a bit longer. That's always something you have to experiment and you'll get with experience. And I think I will too. And the other thing I just wanted to touch on, as I mentioned before, was assisted reps, which is another way in the gym. So this video ended up being more gym-oriented progressive overload, which makes sense because it's like the main area you speak about progressive overload. If anyone of you watching, it's probably because of the gym. So as I was saying, assisted reps is very similar to drop sets in the sense that the goal is to reach failure, closer to failure than you would if you just did one weight. And that is by you do the reps and then you realize you can't go up to the max point maybe, or no, actually that's something else. So you do the reps, and then when you reach a point where you can't do any more, someone helps you to finish the rep with their own strength. This can be done with many exercises, most, I guess. And then finally, now this made me remember another possible thing to help you progressively overload in the gym, which is half reps, which is similar. I guess this is easier if you're alone and you can't do assisted reps, and that would be half reps, which basically at one point you can't just do the full rep anymore. I guess you just don't have the strength, so you still continue to push, even if it's not the full range of motion. Just continue to push and just till the point where you almost don't move, I guess. And yeah, it's really just the concept of just pushing to failure. Obviously the form would still be right, half rep. I'm not saying doing it with the form badly, incorrectly. I'm saying doing it correctly, but it won't be going at, let's say in the bench press, you won't be going as up, you'll be going a couple reps you're doing like this, then the last reps you're like here maybe, something like that. See, that's the things. For example, a friend of mine actually reminded me, even for assisted reps, sometimes you don't need some other person. This is a bit inconvenient though. Usually you would want to have like a gym partner or something. But for bicep curls, for example, like right, he's doing bicep curls, what he actually does in the last reps is help himself with like the other arm, something like that. But yeah, as I said, that would only work for some exercises. And that's basically it. I just wanted to basically touch on this, talk about progressive overload, these 3 techniques you could apply if you're struggling and you want like an in-between step. And this in general will just help your progress in the gym. Right now I'm actually not implementing any of these, but my friend has seen results with this, and just it's overall known to show results. The reason I'm not doing it is because right now with the workout I do is still more based for basketball. I'm not gonna go all the way to do that. I'm just gonna wait for summer and start implementing that when I stop playing basketball. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope these tips and knowledge about progressive overload helped you, along with the small back story of mine. Thank you.